Well, hello everybody. This is Bug Eater 64, and I'm back in the saddle again in the VSkyLabs DC3/C47. We're going to be doing a flight out of San Francisco, and first and most, though, I've got to apologize, tell you how deeply sorry I am about the last YouTube upload that I made. It was a complete disaster. What can I say? The quality was horrible. I tried a new process in my editing and in my film capture, and it most assuredly did not work. I usually do my videos in 1080p, and then this one I did in 720. And something happened during the processing, so that when I uploaded it to YouTube, basically, in my mind, when I checked it and so on, it was pretty much unwatchable. You can't read the gauges properly and so on, and it's a shame because it was a decent video. It was a fun flight from Portland, Oregon to San Francisco International. Even got to look at the Golden Gate a little bit. But what can I say? In my mind, it's a failure, and so I hope you'll be kind to this old guy and accept my apology. And this video, we're going to take off in the DC-3 from San Francisco. We're going to try to head to Phoenix. My primary reason for doing this flight, other than to say I'm sorry to all you folks, and I tell you just how much I appreciate everybody that is following my channel. And it's great to have people actually watching what I do, because I do it just for fun, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I enjoy bringing it to you. That being said, today's flight is going to be a morning flight out of San Francisco, and I'm going to be testing the autopilot. I want to see how if it's working. We've had the new download with X-Plane 1110 Bravo 7 Beta 7, and it's made some changes, most of them positive, but I'm checking different aircraft to see how it's affected them, since it is a beta. This airplane, it doesn't seem to have bothered much, except for maybe the autopilot. The autopilot were already with the Garmin 530 in it, which was not designed for the DC-3. This DC-3 still has its original Sperry autopilot system, which is a very rudimentary autopilot, and will not fly, a flight plan. Using the 530, we still cannot use the autopilot to fly a flight plan. Direct flights, it seems to work all right. We were able to, before Beta 7, I was able to put it on altitude hold with a switch on my HOTAS, and also to fly a heading. During my last flight, when I could get it to do an altitude hold, but when I flipped my switch to do an altitude or a heading hold, it turned around 180 degrees. Basically flew a reverse azimuth of whatever the heading was set at, and basically took me back to the airport I started from. So we're going to see if that happens again today. If we end up, you may not see much of that, if any of it, actually in the video. But that being said, if I'm landing at San Francisco, it means things didn't go well, and so there's still some issues that I've got to deal with and try to figure out what's what. Anyway, that being said, we're going to get into the cockpit here very quickly, go through our checklist. Again, I'm going to use the checklist because in the last one, you really couldn't see what was going on with it. And again, I apologize. So this is Bug Eater 64, and get ready to have some fun, and we're going to be flying. And I'm going to try not to be landing and crashing. But hang tough, as we say. Hold on to your butts, because we're about ready to go. See you soon. Well, hello once again. This is Bug Eater 64, and we're getting ready to take off from San Francisco International and heading for Phoenix, Phoenix Sky Harbor. So we're going to be flying the VSkyLabs DC-3 again, and I can't apologize enough for the last flight I did. The video quality turned out so poorly that, to be honest, it wasn't worth watching. And I do apologize for that. I did not realize that had taken place until after I had uploaded it to YouTube, and I do apologize. So, we've gone back to my old ways, an old system, and the quality, I promise you, will be much, much better. So, here we are with our little lady, the VSkyLabs DC-3 C47. And she's a pretty old girl. So we'll get her fueled up here, get everybody on board, and it's early morning. Yeah, so won't be long, we'll be on our way. Thanks for stopping by, and I sure hope you enjoy the ride. All right, so let us get started. Open our checklist.
Aircraft inspection.
Which we've
Make.
done.
Fuel.
Fuel is good to go. We know that.
Refuel. / file flight plan /
Okay.
All radios.
And we've got them. Let me turn on the master battery here. Okay, all the batteries are on. Let's go ahead and let's just take a look here. Hang on just a minute. And get that turned on standby. Alright, so all radios.
Off. Magneto switches. Off. All switches.
At this point, all the switches are off.
Off, down. Master battery switch.
It's
on.
Okay.
Cockpit and panel light.
Cockpit panel lights look good.
As REQ. Rudder trim control. 0. Aileron trim control.
It's 0.
0. Elevator trim control.
It's
0.
0.
-2 div. Atmospheric manifold pressure. Check equals actual pressure. Outside air temperature, OAT.
Yeah, it's a bit cool.
Check. Cylinder head temperature. Check equals OAT. Oil temperature. Check equals OAT. Undercarriage warning light.
Yeah.
Green light.
Yep.
Wing
That's
flap.
right there.
Up.
And wing flaps are
Left
up.
fuel tank selector. Main LH. Right fuel tank selector. Main RH. Fuel tank quantity.
And these are our fuel tanks. And they're all full.
Check. Parking brake. On. Red light on. Tail wheel.
Tail
Locked.
wheel is
Green
locked.
light on. Cowl flaps.
Let's see here.
Both open. Carburetor heat control. Full cold, pulled. Mixture controls. Auto rich and cut off. Propeller controls.
And propeller controls, we're going to put them all
Full
forward.
forward. Throttle.
Throttles are going to
1/2 forward. NAV light.
Nav light is come
on.
There you go.
// request engine start ///.
Okay, so right fuel mixture.
Mixture set to auto rich.
Request. Right fuel mixture. Auto rich and full rich. Right booster pump switch.
Here we go. Right booster pump.
On. Right fuel pressure. Check 4 to 5 psi. Right magneto switch. Both. Right engine starter.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Press. Right engine RPM. (1,200 RPM). Right booster pump switch. Off. Right generator. On. Master battery switch. Off. Master battery switch. On. Left fuel mixture. Full rich. Left booster pump switch. On. Left fuel pressure. Check 4 to 5 psi. Left magneto switch. Both. Left engine starter. Press. Left engine RPM. (1,200 RPM). Left booster pump switch. Off. Left generator. On. Master battery switch. Off. Master battery switch. On. Both engines. (1,700 RPM). Landing gear pressure. Greater than 500 psi. Hydraulic pressure. 600 to 950 psi. Both engines. 1,200 RPM. Fuel pressure. Check 13 to 16 psi. Oil pressure. Check 65 to 80 psi. Oil temperature. Check 50 to 110 dead. Cylinder temperature. Increased U-icing. Flight controls. Check. All radios. On NSET. Transponder. STBY NSET. Altimeter to local pressure. Check both. Direction gyro. Check both. Propeller de-icer switch. As REQ. Window to_icer switch. As REQ. Bateau heat. As REQ. Carburetor de-icer switch. As REQ. / request taxi / request. Landing light switches. Both on. Park brakes. Release. Turn indicator and HDG.
Okay, so we're gonna turn around here. Okay, we're gonna get this airplane turned around,
Check moving.
head out to our taxi area.
Left
Since
brake.
unfortunately they don't have
Test.
a pushback
Right brake.
for a tricycle landing geared airplane. So
Test. Go
we're just going to be
holding
running
point and
over
set park
these
brake.
parked baggage carriers. Yeah, we'll get through it. We'll get through the checklist, head down to our holding area, and do some more checks there. Nice of that fuel truck to move out of the way. And since we don't have pushback capability here, I guess we'll just have to drive through the baggage holders. Looks like the baggage hauler is going to be waiting for us to get past him. Stop right here. And we'll check our navigation. You can hear the co-pilot talking to me a little bit on the side there. So we're going to be leaving KSFO, San Francisco, and we're going to be heading down to Phoenix if everything goes well. So let's go ahead and look at our flight plan. I've already got one in the system. There we go. Highlight it. Move it down. So the very last one there on the bottom. No, highlight it. There we go. And go up to menu. And activate. Okay. That did not work well. Why didn't it? Alright, let's try this again. Enter. Now we activate it. Okay, got it listed. Distance 564 miles. So with this old bird, it will take a while. Okay. Now let's get it activated. Alright, so that should be ready to go. Put it on GPS. And we'll do the same thing with our other 530. There's 2 Garmin 530s in this airplane. Yeah, I'm having a good day. Making the same mistake more than once. No, not menu. Enter. Ugh. I'm so dumb at times. Yes. Now click enter to activate. Sometimes I just do things the hard way. Silly me. Thank you. We may now proceed. Alright, let's start our taxi and get down to our hold point so we can get on, finish up our checklist and get in the air. And like I said, I'm going to be testing the autopilot. I have the X55 Pro HOTAS by Cytec as my flight controls, and on my throttle quadrant I have a switch, and I push up on the switch and it activates altitude hold. If I pull back on the switch, it's supposed to set up heading hold. I'm kind of experimenting with a couple things because I use both the heading hold. That hasn't worked too well. Then I try the GPS, fly the GPS. The heading hold worked pretty well before Beta 7 dropped, and I ran into an issue with the flight from Portland, Oregon here to San Francisco. There was a bit of an issue, but it worked well. Then I want to see what happens with this one. So we're going to do a little bit of experimenting after we get past these runways and get out to get in the air and see if I can get this work. If it doesn't, like I said at the very beginning, if I turn around and come back here to San Francisco, we'll know that I didn't work out my autopilot issues. So we'll just see how it goes. DC-3 is such a pretty airplane, and it's amazing that, you know, the takeoff speed is very much like a Cessna 172, about 65 knots. But you look at the difference in the size of these airplanes. It shows how efficient these wings were in developing lift. The DC-3 isn't fast, but she can carry a lot of cargo, and she's just a remarkably built airplane. And that's why an airplane that was built back in the 40s is still flying today in 2017 and at different locations around the world. Some of them still have the radial engines that this bird does, and some of them have been updated to turboprop. But they basically, it's the same airplane with some upgrades. Now, in many, the electronics have been updated quite a bit. In our airplane here, that's not the case. It's 99.9% old school, including the autopilot. It's got the Sperry, the original Sperry autopilot in it, which is basically a lot of hands-on. And we're trying to work in the Garmin 530, and it's slowly getting there. VSkyLabs has come a long way, done some very, very nice things with this airplane. So I really like it. And VSkyLabs, the developer, has been extremely friendly when I've had questions or suggestions. Very, very nice people. Okay, we're getting to our holding point here, so we'll be pulling up the checklist and doing some more stuff.
Go holding point. Parking brake. On. Red light on. Both engines.
Run the engines up to
700 RPM. Test right magneto R then L.
We're not going to do the magneto test because every time I've tried to do the magneto test on this airplane, the engine's actually completely shut down.
Test
So we're going to bypass that.
L. Check. Left magneto. Both. Propeller controls. Pull backward. Propeller controls. Pull forward. Engine power. Test. Engine idle. Test. Both engines. (1,300 RPM). Auto heat. Both on. Landing gear pressure. Greater than 500 sun. Hydraulic pressure. 600 to 875 sun. Magneto switches. Both. Propeller controls. Pull forward. Fuel mixture. Auto rich and full rich. Carburetor heat. Full cold, cold. Wing flap selector. Up. Rudder trim control. 0. Aileron trim control. 0. Elevator trim control. Set T/O, -1.5 div. Fuel systems. Check. // request takeoff ///.
Okay, we'll set the transponder from standby to active, or alt. Make sure it's working. Well, let's see, check our transponder here. Yes, go about it. Make sure we got it on alt. And we do.
Transponder. Alt. Strobe light. On. Takeoff time.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to take off probably about 8:25 in the morning.
Record. Park brake. Release. base. Line up and set park brake.
Alright, so we'll move out here on the runway, get lined up, and get ready for takeoff. And we could run through more, but I'll just take over from here, thank you. So, that's the end of the checklist for this flight. And takeoff flap set. Okay, parking brake on. Brake set. Gauge, everything looks good. And we are rolling. Airspeed is active. We are at 65, 70. So we're at takeoff speed. Rotate. And nice easy climb. Landing gear coming up. Flaps coming up. And we'll start turning on to our heading for Phoenix. The big question is, will we get there? Or will we be just making a nice flight around Southern California and coming back to San Francisco? Only time will tell. But for right now, we are flying quite nicely. It's a beautiful morning in Central California, in San Francisco. And our pretty young lady, or I should say old girl, she's just as pretty as she can be. As we fly over Mr. X's San Francisco. And we start trimming up the old girl. It's such a stable airplane, and once we get the trim set, it takes very, very, very little hands-on flying to keep her going where we want her to go. So, bring the throttles back a little bit, RPM back. And we're still climbing, but we got a nice gradual climb of about 500 to 600 feet a minute. And we're actually up to about 1,000 feet a minute. Get her trimmed up nicely here, and pretty much fly her. So. The altitude we actually need to get over the mountains to Phoenix is, the highest point is 7,500 feet. So if we're at 8,000, we won't have any issues. We've got plenty of altitude to get over. Right now we're at 4,200 feet. And in our climb, we've got a steady speed of just over 100 knots. And we're climbing right now at about 800 feet per minute. Okay, so we're on heading. Our gyro is set.
Engaging autopilot.
See what happens. Okay, just engage the autopilot, put it into altitude hold, and you'll see it bob a little bit, but she'll come up, she settles, and she flies just fine. Right now we're at just over 5,200 feet, 5,200 feet. Okay, she's flying low. So the altitude hold works just like it's supposed to. So now the scary point. If I tell it to do heading hold, what is this airplane going to do? As soon as I get the courage, I'll hit the switch and we'll try. And who knows where we'll go. Alright. Altitude is still good, so pilot seems to be working fine. Actually, I could leave it right here, just on altitude hold, and I could use my trim tabs to make gradual changes to keep us on heading. But I really would like to have the heading hold work, and you can see right there that we're definitely right about right. That's a lot of rights, but we're going in the right direction. And I'm real hesitant about even trying the heading hold, but really want to test to see if it's working in beta 7. I'm gonna have to do it. Alrighty, so we're on our way. adjustments, just using a little trim. And it seems to work just fine. So, and we are going to try and get to about 8,000 feet, so we can definitely clear the mountains. So, we do have a gradual climb, but and we control all that just by using trim. Unless I want to get there quicker, in which case, yeah, I can just hand fly it. Does such a nice job. Well, yeah, and I got my co-pilot in the galley getting ready to cook us all up some fine food. This airline, Air America DUA, nothing but the finest for our passengers and crew. We cook everything right here on the aircraft and serve it hot. You show me any other airline that'll do that. Of course, OSHA wouldn't let them because it'd be open flame. But anyway, that's just the way things are. So we're at 7,600 feet and still climbing. And then we'll check to see if altitude hold will work again. Alright, so we're at 8,000 feet. And so, reinitiated altitude hold appears to be working.
Engaging autopilot.
Alright, now altitude hold. Then we're going to kick in heading hold. Everything looks good. We're lined up. Let's get the yoke out of the way so we can see my alignment. Yeah, indicator a little bit better. Alright, so excellent. It's looking good. So we're on heading. Looks good. But I'm only using the altitude hold right now. Everything else I'm doing is with the trim. Trimmed up nicely. She's heading in the right direction, so things are looking good. And with that, I will get back to you when we get a little bit closer. Not a lot to see around here. Go ahead and take a look outside. So, as we go. Now, if I end up when we come back here, there's not a lot to see except the mountains and so on from this point forward. So, I'm going to leave you for now and shortly come back, and when we get closer to our destination. If that destination happens to be San Francisco, you'll know that my autopilot altitude or heading hold did not work, and maybe doing the same old thing it did before. So, with that, we will be coming back to you very shortly when we get close to whatever destination we've decided to fly to. So, see you soon. Well, we're back. And we've run into the issue. We are not flying to Phoenix, and right now we're not flying back to San Francisco. The autopilot, when I put it into heading hold, and then when that didn't work, I went back into the system, changed the key commands and so on, and tried to go into fly the GPS. Wouldn't do that. I am now back to flying, a heading, and looking at the map there, you can see the red airplane. That's us, and you can see, and we'll scroll out here a little bit and show you where San Francisco is and where we came from and the track we flew, and you'll be able to tell. There you go. There's San Francisco at the top. We flew it pretty straight, just using the, flying by hand, using the trim, flying altitude hold. That worked. You see the circle there? That was when I turned on the autopilot, and it just made a big circle. And we tried that a couple different times, and now it is flying me. Apparently it didn't want to go to San Francisco, take me back. It didn't want to go to Phoenix, but it wants to fly to the ocean. So we are headed to the ocean. So needless to say, the autopilot is not working. So I'm gonna have to do some more research, some more study, talk to the kind people at VSkyLabs, and see if there isn't a way to work out a fix. Who knows? But I'm sure there will be. In time, this will all come out and be a good thing. But so we're just going to enjoy our little bit of flight around Central California and head back to San Francisco. I mean, we got plenty of fuel. That's not an issue. That's San Francisco. Up top there, right there. And Phoenix is over here. And we are being taken by our autopilot to the ocean. And that's not the way we want to go. So we are going to head back to San Francisco and call it a day. I'm going to do some more research. This is something new and different that I haven't run into with this airplane. So we're going to head up there.
Autopilot disengaged.
So I've disengaged the autopilot, and wow, was she out of trim. So we're going to get her back, get her trimmed up. No idea why it was so far out of trim. The autopilot was doing some weird things. Okay, so we are headed back to San Francisco. So unfortunately, you won't get to see Phoenix International Sky Harbor today. But you will get to see me land back at San Francisco a second time if you watched my previous flight from Portland to San Francisco. As you know, my takeoffs are fine. My landings leave something to be desired with a tail dragger. All your good wishes and hopes and prayers are appreciated. And to be absolutely honest though, after watching the video and watching the landing, if any of you that have watched the video have any suggestions on how I can land the airplane better, if you see something that I'm doing wrong or something that I can improve on, please don't hesitate to put something in the comment section, and All constructive criticism is gratefully acknowledged and appreciated. So please don't hesitate. Tell me what I can do, one, to make the videos better, and two, to improve my flying. So, we're all here to have fun, and I do enjoy, like I said, positive criticism. It's helpful. So feel free. Okay, so you can see our track up there. There's the first time I turned on the autopilot. Then there's another circle where I turned on the autopilot. Started that way, and I took over and then turned it on again, and it took me to the ocean. So basically headed back to the airport. So I don't know what was going on because the gyro was set properly, our heading indicator was set properly. Like I said, gonna have to do some more research, talk on the VSkyLabs forums, and see what kind of input and suggestions we can get from there. But at least it's a beautiful morning in California. Excuse me. It's interesting. It appears that the autopilot is flying the reverse azimuth. So as we stand right now, we're flying it by hand, and like I say, we got it trimmed up, so it's actually quite simple. We're at 9,100 feet. As you can see, we're starting to descend here, so try to keep our descent at about 1,000 feet a minute for now, so we can get low enough to make our approach into the runways. Runway 28 left. It's the same runway we took off from this morning. And we're getting there. And you can hear the co-pilot in the galley there. It's going to be good when it's ready. This flight's being treated with what we call Burger Mac. It's a casserole with very lean hamburger meat mixed with cheese macaroni. Very tasty. Quite filling. Very enjoyable. We're getting there, slow but sure. We've UV'd our descent now, and we've also slowed down, so we can start making preparations to head for the runway here. We're going to be making our right turn, fly over the city a little bit, and then left turn on the final. Now, the DC-3 doesn't need a lot of runway, so I like to come in a little bit high of glide path, and really slow the aircraft down and just let it float onto the runway. The issue I have is once the tail wheel drops to the runway itself is when I start having issues keeping the airplane straight and on the runway. I've tried it with both the tail wheel locked and with the tail wheel unlocked, and unfortunately neither one of them seems to be of any help to me. So I will be open for suggestions after we'll see how this landing goes, and then we'll go from there. And the airport is basically straight ahead. There seems to be a little, every once in a while you see some lag, and that's usually when an ortho tile is loading. So usually doesn't last too long though, so it's we live with it. I guess it's the price of having this type of immersion and beauty of the surroundings. So. And there is the airport straight ahead. to the left over there is where the airfield is at. Right about there. Guys are looking a little bit busy, not bad. Yeah, in the real world there is a lots and lots and lots of peoples living down there. Okay, so we are getting there. And we're about 1,900 feet, so that's actually a good approach altitude. Airspeed's just about 100 knots. Just about where I like to be. So we'll just fly out here and get ourselves lined up and hopefully have a nice feather landing. There's the airfield. And landing gear coming down. landing gear is down and locked. Give it first degree of flaps. Watch our airspeed. Excuse me. And next degree of flaps. And I'll really slow her down here. Again, keep an eye on our airspeed. Don't want to get too slow. But she is a stable platform. Another degree. And you can see the lights there. They're all white, so we are high above the flight path. Ooh, almost talk now. I'll learn that next week. I don't mind it, except we got a lot of airfield or runway to play with, and this airplane doesn't need very much. And just put in the last full flaps setting. Very stable, very slow. We're just going to let her float down to the runway. Bit of a flare. And touchdown. And we'll let it roll and just let the tail slowly settle by itself. See, it's starting to move, so I put in a little left rudder, not much, but once it takes home, it's done. And we're going to go play in the bushes here. Landscaping needed a little extra bush trimming, so that's what we're going to do. But I didn't spin out this time. Didn't hit any signs. Just pruned some bushes. So, all in all, safe landing. We're down safe. You know, what can I say? Go ahead and move to the parking gate, put the flaps up. I just can't keep her straight on the runway after the tail wheel comes down. Open to any and all suggestions. So we'll move up here to the parking area. Won't pull up to the gate since, again, we restart the airplane. We're going to have to turn it around because we don't have a pushback system. So we'll just shut it down. Engines off. And with that, we will go ahead and look at the replay of the landing. So, one more time. Here we go. Yeah, I have actually watched 19 or World War II C-47 training films for pilots. For, you know, starting the airplane, taking off, flying it, using the Sperry autopilot, and the landings. And for some reason, I get everything okay except the landing. Something about me and that tail wheel just don't get along. Because this was a good landing. Nice gentle touchdown. Let the tail settle by itself as the speed dropped. Then it started to move. Tried to correct for the right turn. And it went left through the bushes. The only thing I can think of is that the airplane itself has a mind of its own, and she wanted to get to the gate quicker. What can I tell you? You know, couldn't be pilot error. Oh, no. Well, maybe. That's why I need your help. So if you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave comments and let me know. We had a nice little flight. So anyway, we go ahead and we move up to the gate here, shut her down, and get ready for our next adventure. So, thanks so much for watching. Glad you came. Hope you enjoyed the flight as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. And until next time, safe flying.